I'm Bambi Francisco with Vader TV, the network for innovators. Well, Zivity's received tons of press since launching in September of 2007. Over at Boomtown, Kara Swisher's titled her piece, "Tasteful Naked Ladies Online Get $7 million," and that the FT, the title there is "Zivity's Striptease Networking Entices Investors." Well, joining me to talk about Zivity, clearly a very intriguing site, is Cyanne Bannister. She is the founder and CEO of Zivity.
Chief Strategy Officer.
Chief Strategy Officer. Cyanne, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So I have to ask you, I've been reading up about Zivity, and hopefully I will be one of the beta testers. You can only take beta testers at this point, correct?
Correct.
So is it an adult social networking site? Is it a naked lady site, an online peep show? How should we refer to your site?
I look at our site as a photo sharing site. It is a site for artistic nudes and for art and for fashion photography. So I don't view it that way at all. I think it's a lot scarier in the abstract, and so people like to sensationalize what we're doing.
Sure.
But really, it's pictures of women being beautiful and being empowered and expressing themselves.
What percentage of the photos are nude, and what
It's
percentage?
50-50.
50-50.
Because we editorialize our content, we work and strive to keep that ratio.
So why did you build this site? I mean, was there a pain point here? Was there a place, do women need to express themselves in this way?
Oh yeah. So if you look at MySpace, look at Flickr, look at YouTube, look at every site out there on the internet, and there are tens of thousands of women trying to express themselves online, but they can't. And the reason being is that they're trying to do this in an advertisement-supported network. So like if you're on MySpace, you can only push the boundaries so far. So if you're Tila Tequila or you're some star that has been made their career, their career on MySpace, if you go so far as to where maybe you have a photo that's a little too risque, or you have a political idea that is unpopular, or who knows, maybe a Ford Motor Company or the advertiser is not going to be incredibly pleased with that, and your content would be pulled from the site and censored. We're seeing more and more of this where people want to express themselves and want a stage to do it, and so that's what Zivity is.
We'll go through this demo here, but what's the makeup of the average woman that goes to your site? How old is she? What is she trying to do? Is she a budding model, aspiring model?
It really depends. For example, we're looking at Bella Sue here. Bella Sue is probably, I would categorize her as an amateur model. She doesn't do this necessarily for a living, day in and day out, but she is in her 20s, and so most of our models actually range from 19 to, I think, we have a model who's 42.
Okay.
And so a lot of websites, when you're looking at glamour photography or looking at photography of this nature, they have a range. They basically say, you have to be between the ages of 18 and 23, and once you're 23, you're too old.
Right. Okay.
But we believe that women are beautiful no matter what age they are.
Yeah. Now, who is she selling her stuff? Can you, as a model, can you sell your photographs?
You can't do that because as a model, you don't own the copyright. The copyright always belongs to the photographer. But the photographer and her may have an arrangement where if the photographer sells a print, that she could receive some revenue share from that. We hope to build that into the site at some point to where you could actually see this photograph, click on it, buy it, and then revenue would be shared back with the content creators.
Who do you think the audience is for this? And what, at this point, I guess you don't really have an audience because it's not open, but what do you feel?
Yeah,
do you feel that?
I can tell you what I strive for. We hope to have about a 60-40, 60% being a male audience and 40% being female. Because if you think about it, we have a lot of really neat things we can do with the photography here. Women love to look at other pictures of women. We do it every day. We look at Cosmo, we look at Vogue, and we're always looking at what women are wearing, what kind of makeup does she have. Like for this, I would be very curious as to where she got that corset. Does she wear MAC makeup? How did she style her hair? How can I look like that?
So you can see other business models around this.
Yes, and maybe there's some possibility where I could, buy the robe that she's wearing, for example.
Why are you voting? What is that feature right there?
Every time you vote, we think of ourselves as being a lot like American Idol. So if you think of a singer getting on stage in American Idol, you can SMS or call in and cast a vote. This is your way of actually showing appreciation for the art on the site, and it's built into your subscription fee.
Okay.
So for $10 a month, you get 5 votes, and 5 votes are worth $1. And then when you go and you cast a vote for the artist, 80 cents is split between the content creators. So if you were to vote right now, you would actually give 60 cents to Bella Sue and 20 cents to her photographer, Marn.
Oh, wow. So and that's where you have your royalties, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so can we go to your royalties? These are your photos now that people have voted. Correct. For you, right?
Yeah. So I'm a model on the site.
Okay.
And that's pretty exciting for me.
You made $38.
This is $36 actually. I made $38 last month.
Okay.
If you go down to the bottom, you can actually see how much I've made all time. So since I've started, I've made $176.90.
Okay.
And
is that
I'm not one of the most popular models on the site. We have models who've made over $500 just in our private beta.
Do you think some models are trying to make some sort of a living, or do you think they can at some
absolutely.
point?
There's one of our models is really excited because she's using Zivity to pay off her debt. So she has some debt, I guess, and she's really excited about that. Some are using it, obviously in some parts of America, probably not here in San Francisco, but you can afford to pay rent on $500 to $600 a month.
So when you vote, your $10 goes, 80 cents goes to the model, 20 cents goes to the photographer, or what did you say?
60 cents goes to the model, 20 cents goes to the photographer, and 20 cents goes back to Zivity.
Goes to Zivity.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically $4 out of every subscription fee every month. Get shared with content creators.
And when you think about the marketplace, I mean, you had to pitch this and you raised $7 million recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that recent? Pretty recently?
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
How did you pitch this site? What did you say?
Oh, well, one of the things about VCs is they see the longer-term idea and longer-term picture. So what you see today is you see a content site based around beautiful photography of women. But one of the things we see is actually, if you look at MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, all of these sites are very similar to old broadcast media. So they're similar to NBC, ABC.
MySpace is old broadcast media already. Wow.
I think so.
Sure.
Well, because they're following the same footsteps of the dinosaurs. So they're basically operating in an ad-supported environment, which means that they only have so much, capital that they can work with, because they have to make sure that they get enough eyeballs and pump enough ads through it. And it's very similar to NBC broadcasting a television show and selling ad space. It's no different. So if you think about, the history of old media, along came HBO, along came Showtime, and paid-for content sites, Sirius Radio, XM. And what do they all have in common? They have more liberal content. They have content that people want to see, that is very compelling, that you can't find on broadcast television or public radio. And so that's what we actually, some of the articles you'll see, we actually think of ourselves as being the HBO of the Internet.
Right. Well, you're the first sort of subscription model around a social network.
Yes.
So what do you forecast? How many models do you expect to have? How many do you have now? How many people do you have paying $10 a month? Have you opened that up yet?
In private beta, we're actually not charging subscription fees. Right now, we're actually just selling additional votes, and that's been quite popular. And so, like, a lot of people come in, they buy like 20 to 50 votes, and they cast them.
Why do they do that? Why do they buy votes? What's the incentive to buy votes?
If you look at Facebook, it's why do people buy virtual gifts? It's like, why do people give each other turtles and bears and flowers?
How much is a virtual vote?
$1.
$1. Okay.
Yeah, even on Facebook it's $1.
Okay.
But you don't get any of that. So if I give you a bear, you get a bear, and that's all you get. It's like a little web bling to put on your site.
Okay.
But if we do virtual gifting, you will actually receive some financial incentive to do that. You would actually give you something, and you would get some money out of it.
So how many subscribers? When do you officially launch, or do you have an official?
We don't have an official launch date. I think right now what we're trying to do is build the right kind of community. When your business model is based off advertising, you basically want to open the floodgates, get as many people in as possible, and just kind of see what happens. But we can actually afford to take our time. And so one of the things we want to do is make sure that we get the right kind of members. We build the right kind of community, and we build the right kind of features.
So what does your membership base look like, and how do you size that? How many do you expect to have by the end of the year? And again, is that going to be mostly men, mostly women?
Well, we have about a little over 10,000 people on the site right now.
Are they paying?
Just for votes. They're not paying subscription fees. We're turning subscription fees on in the summer. So I'll have obviously a lot more information then. We're looking to have 100,000 paid subscribers by the end of the year. And we would actually be profitable at that point.
you'd be profitable at that point.
Exactly. So that's one of the things that a subscription-based site can, you can actually have, 2 million members to Facebook, 70 million to be profitable.
Sure.
Or actually, I actually rephrase that. If we have 2 million paying subscribers, we're making just as much money as Facebook.
At $10.
At $10.
At $10, yeah. And you don't have to have as many people.
No.
So why do you think you can get 100,000 paying subscribers?
Well, I think it's already showing and indicating that people really want to see content like this. They want to participate in a social networking site like this. We have over 25,000 people waiting to get in. So we have 10,000 on and 25,000 waiting to get in. And every time we do any sort of media, any sort of press, we get thousands and thousands more people who sign up.
Right.
So obviously the demand is there.
And what about the women who are actually creating the content? Is it always only going to be women, or can men be allowed to?
Only women.
Only women.
Yes.
And so how many women are actually creating the content that's being consumed?
Right now we have 100 models.
Okay.
And
so you have 100
but
models and 10,000
we have several
people
more that are just not published yet. So we actually have, at any given time, 50 to 60 photo sets waiting to be published.
Okay, so 100 models, and then you have 10,000 people subscribed to the site.
Correct.
And so you should have about 100,000 paying subscribers by the end of the year. That's what you anticipate. And you anticipate being profitable at that point, too.
Hopefully.
And then maybe 10 times more models as well?
Oh, yeah, I would hope we have... I ran a poll, an unofficial poll, because it's not really a scientific poll, because they had to choose to be in it, so it wasn't a blind poll. But I just asked people, would you do this? Would you get on Zivity? And I think it was something like 10% of the women who responded said yes. So if you think about that and you expand it to all of the women in just America, it ends up being millions of women would be interested in being on Zivity. We can actually do quite well with just a few thousand models.
When you looked at and sized this market, were you looking at how many women are modeling, and how much money is being made in modeling, or how much money is spent on buying Maxim, or talk about the elements that...
Yeah, actually that was a huge motivator for me starting Zivity, was that I actually went and looked into how much models and content creators get paid. Not just on, we were talking about YouTube, MySpace, etc., but even in traditional modeling. It's very, very hard for a model to make money. And they do things like trade for print, which is where if I do a photo shoot for you, then you get to keep it for your portfolio, but there's no money exchanged. Sometimes they do it in exchange for the clothing they're wearing in the shoot, and oftentimes they get paid $50. And obviously the more successful you are, if you're a runway model or a Victoria's Secret model, or you obviously get paid a lot more. But for the thousands and thousands of women who are trying to make it, it's not very lucrative for them. Very few of them can actually make a full-time career out of it. And so they have to have a second job.
And what about the subscription model to like a Maxim or those magazines? Did you look at that as well?
Yeah,
like
I've looked at Playboy.
How many subscribers do they have? Do those magazines have?
Millions. I mean, I don't have the actual statistics with me, but if you look at Playboy Newsstand, which our content doesn't go beyond Playboy Newsstand. They have millions of subscribers. Their target demographic is male, 35 years old. Maxim is very, very different. They have a different market. But I'm not sure how many people subscribe online versus the magazine.
Okay.
Because both of them have a online model versus printed magazine model.
Okay. So you think you're going to be profitable? You're expecting to be profitable by the end of this year, and this is the last question. But you raised $7 million. So are you? So it sounds like you're going to have a lot of money in the bank, unless you're burning a huge amount to build this product. What's your burn rate?
Oh, I can't discuss that.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
But what are you using the $7 million for? That's
hiring engineers more than anything. We look to have more than 50% of our company being engineering.
And how many engineers would that be?
Right now we have 11, so we're maintaining that balance. We also are an operationally intensive company, so if you think about it, all of our models and photographers are contractors.
Okay. So
we're going to have a very large contractor base. They get paid 1099, just like if somebody were contracting. And we also have, obviously the editorial process and all of that, so it's a little operationally intensive. But most of our money is going to go towards, engineering.
Okay. And just last question, sorry about that, distribution. How are you going to get distribution? Are you going to partner with anyone to get this out? I mean, you're doing a great job already. Yeah,
right now, our strategy is working for us. I don't see any need to do that. We've had some people come forward and offer to partner with us.
Okay. And who would those be?
Mostly other modeling sites, like professional modeling sites that work with like Elite or Ford Modeling Agency.
Sure, yeah.
But I really don't think that we really need to do that right now. Right now we're doing well with viral strategy where people, there's a lot of buzz about Zivity.
Yeah.
We were passing out invites. It's an invite-only system.
Yeah.
Every time we pass out invites, people give it out. If you go look at inviteshare.com, we have over 700 people, I think, waiting to get in.
Wow.
And, those are people just waiting for someone to give them an invite.
Sure.
We had one of our invites sold on eBay for $40. So obviously there's, and if you went and looked at Hulu and all of these other sites, their invites were going for 99 cents. There's a huge demand to be on Zivity right now.
Yeah, there is. But do you think that you created this sort of this intrigue or to be on Zivity because you allowed for nude photos? I mean, if it were perfectly clean, no nude photos, do you think you'd still have the same kind of buzz?
There still would be women.
What's that?
There still would be women. I think it's universal that people love to look at pictures of beautiful women, both women and men alike. Obviously, having some nudity, having more liberal content guidelines helps. Yeah. And because we offer more freedom.
Okay. I don't think I'd want my my husband or significant other looking at the site too often, but it's beautiful. It's a great. It really is actually tastefully done, I have to say. Now that I've gotten the tour, so thank you for sharing with us or giving us the tour, and good luck to you. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Diane Bannister. She's the founder of Zivity. I'm Bambi Francisco.